say this is a very informal interview. This is really just, the store's 100 years old, and as we talked, Kenny was like, look, I just want a record of the 100 years. I want stories about the store. I want an oral history, and if any of it is useful on social media to promote 100 years, then great.
Yeah.
So it is not, there's nothing in here, no gotcha questions, nothing wrong. If you start talking about your own life, that's all good, it's all good. What else do I want to share? We can stop at any time. We can, so I'm
Okay,
just interested
when he comes
your
in with the water,
experiences.
maybe I'll take a little break then.
I'll take a moment. So I appreciate you being here. I'm gonna start just by asking you who you are, and to give some context, I'll say, can you introduce yourself, and then just make sure you include your name, and then why you're here. And I am a customer of the store, and I've been here for whatever the case may be, so folks have some context. So thank you, welcome, and I'm glad you're here today. Can you just introduce yourself for me?
Yeah, thank you, Debbie. I'm Sidney Torres, and I'm happy to be here today because I'm a longtime customer of Rubenstein Brothers.
Do you remember when you first started shopping here?
I do. 1964, 60 years ago. I was getting ready to go off to college, and I came here with my mother to buy some clothes to go to college. And I especially remember back in those days, there was what was called madras shirts, and bleeding madras, as a matter of fact. That was one of my favorite shirts that I got, and I've been a customer ever since.
That's great, that's great. So you were from here, you grew up here?
Yes, I'm from down in St. Bernard Parish, and I've lived down there all my life, multi-generational, and so I've been here for a long time.
So how did you know about Rubenstein's coming from St. Bernard?
Oh, everybody knew about Rubenstein's. I think, well, they had been around 40 years when I first came here, and this was the place to come. And I think everybody knew about it back then, and as today, world renowned. So I just live a few miles from here, so it was easy to know about Rubenstein's.
How did you, when your mom, did you want to come to Rubenstein's for your first suit, or did your mom say, oh, that's where we're going to go?
I think it was a joint decision to come here. This was the place to come. And when we came here, I think from the very beginning, that's when I met the family, Andre, David, and also Nikki and Roberta. And so it became just from the very beginning, it was a very pleasant experience. And from the very beginning, I realized that this was a place where the brand was quality, fashion, and customer service. And they've done that seamlessly from the very beginning until this day.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to high school at St. Bernard in St. Bernard Parish, and then I went off to LSU for college, and then ultimately to Loyola Law School.
Oh, nice, nice. So you were within shopping distance the whole time.
The whole time, yeah. And I'm a frequent visitor of Rubenstein's, even when I'm not coming shopping for clothes. I have a tradition of coming to the city at least on Saturdays, and I'll come over and sit and talk with David and Andre, have coffee, and just enjoy being around. And of course, every time I come in, I'm always kind of looking around a little bit.
Oh, that's really nice. How did that start?
That's gone on forever. Just I'm a person tradition. I have a standing appointment for my haircut every Saturday, so I don't have to bother making an appointment. And this is just a convenient place to come. I go right down the street here at the Mont Leon to get my haircut.
That was maybe the most New Orleans sentence I've ever heard.
There'll be a few of them.
Right. I love that. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And when you started coming in 1964, the merchandise was quite different. Do you remember, was there a time when you came in where you thought, well, this is not what I'm used to seeing here in the store? Or were you always excited to see something new? Like, how do you remember the merchandise here? if at all?
Well, when I first came in, it was kind of new to me, but I knew that the merchandise was always diverse and it was always right on in terms of style. And over the years, the physical venue has changed, all for the better. And the clothing, they've just kept up with the styles over the years. But the consistency of the quality and the service has always been the same. And you know, once they learn your style here at Rubenstein's, and I have had a number of people who have helped me during the years, but always David and Andre were there. And so the change has always been for the better. And I think Rubenstein's goes down to, is a prime example of a brand that has been consistent. And I don't think they went out and said, to hire somebody and say, we need a brand. They created a brand, and it's become an institution. And again, that brand is all about quality, style, and service.
Why do you think dressing with style matters? Why
Well,
should it matter?
first of all, I think the most important thing is to feel good about yourself and what you're wearing. And if you feel good and comfortable, to me, that's the most important factor. Of course, that translates into if you have a particular event, you're going to wear a tuxedo, and if you're going out to a picnic, you're going to put on your jeans and comfortable clothes. And so if you can approach fashion and dress first and foremost as to what makes you feel comfortable, then what you want to do is you want to, over time, let's say, adapt to the times, but you don't want to go too far. And that's what the diversity of the merchandise here over the years has been perfect. You know, in my days when I first started coming here, those were the days of the hippies and long hair and, you know, torn jeans and so forth. And you could go in that direction, but you didn't have to go so far in that direction that you were an extremist in that regard. And that's one of the things I've always liked about here. I'm kind of a middle of the road type of person, and so that's what you're going to get here. And it's worked very well for me and the people that I see here as far as having the convenience of having a store like this so nearby.
Yeah. Was there ever a time where you found yourself in an unfamiliar space or you had to come and shop for something special was there ever a time when you had to come and shop for something special here or something different?
I don't know that they would say something different. It might have been something for a specific event. Like, okay, in New Orleans we have Carnival Balls, and okay, I need a tuxedo to be able to do that. And some other instances, I ride and show horses, and so there might have been some things in that direction. But there's always been what either I needed here or they knew where to get it.
Mm-hmm. Did they ever send you somewhere else?
No, I don't recall that they sent me to another store, but they have relationships all over, which I've experienced, whether it would be in New York or Shreveport, Louisiana, or wherever I traveled, and go into some of the prime stores. They knew who David and Andre were, and they always would say, tell them hello, and this might be somebody in either the Brioni store in New York or the Xenia store. And so I understood by those visits that they have a lot of respect in the clothing community and have developed a lot of friendships.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Do you remember when the Italian wear first came to the store? Were you like...
I can't say that I remember exactly, but it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And the good thing for me is on my mother's side, I'm Italian. My mother's side, my father's side, we have Los Isleños heritage. And so I can come in an Italian suit off the rack fits me almost perfectly.
Oh, that's great. That's very fortunate. And not everybody could say that.
Yeah. Well, it's changed a little bit over time. I noticed some of my pants are shrinking a little bit.
I know they do that over time, don't they?
Yeah.
It's the truth. It's the truth. But tell me a little bit about, I know you're a very civically engaged person here. why do you think, have you seen Rubenstein's play any larger role in the city? And
Oh.
no is an okay answer, I'm just asking.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you know, you see of the brothers, David seems to be the most outspoken, but both of them, when there are critical issues over the years, you'll see them on television and the news media advocating for positive things for the city of New Orleans. And I think that came natural to them to be involved civically, and there's no question that they've played an important part in the city, particularly here on Canal Street. You know, this is one of the prime locations, I think, in the world for any business or for people to come and visit. And I know now that part of the property here has become a hotel. It's going to be a premier hotel, I'm sure. And yes, they have been involved over time. And they do it in a way where you know it's something they want to do. And they really believe in the city of New Orleans, and they promoted it positively. And that's something you can't just fake. Either you're going to do it, and they've done it consistently for years. Is that my water?
No, it's not.
I think my voice is okay. Does it sound like
It
it's...
sounds good,
Okay.
but I appreciate that it might be bothering you, so if you
I'm
want,
okay.
we
I'm okay. We can
okay.
keep going until he gets here. And
He
you're
hasn't
editing.
responded, so
You're
I'm trying to-
editing anyway.
Exactly, I'm not gonna, you there? He hasn't responded, so I'm like, he may be helping someone. Anyway.
Your brother never did listen to you, huh?
Never, all these years, never listened to me. It's all right, I'm used to it. But he does listen to you.
He's responsive.
Exactly. When you come in, do you have different salesmen who help you, or is it usually Andre, David, or Kenny, or someone like that?
It could be anyone, but over the years, there's usually one person who's the point person, and that's changed over the years. But David and Andre have always been here, yes. And Kenny.
Why does it matter that the store has lasted for 100 years? Does it matter?
I'm sorry, why
Does it matter that the store has been around 100 years?
Of course it does, because it shows the fact that they've done it right. And I can't think of another example where 100 years someone has been in a business such as this, selling merchandise, where it's gone from one generation to the other in a way that they just continue on. And again, I think it has to do with the passion that they bring to the business. And you know, they're their own best asset. And it matters in the sense that, first off, in New Orleans, what a great thing to have an institution like Rubenstein's on the corner of St. Charles and Canal. You know, this is a premier location and a premier store, and I know that people travel here from all over to shop at Rubenstein's. So it matters for the city. It matters for people like me who love the convenience of having such a premier clothing store nearby.
It's always nice.
Yeah.
What do you think, you talked about Rubenstein's has a brand that's consistent. What do you think that is? What do you think it stands for? What does it mean to you?
The brand stands on the three principles of quality, fashion, and impeccable customer service. And every business strives for that. They teach in college and school that if you want to go to a business and promote them, this is what you do. I think Rubenstein's, they invented it. You know, and I didn't know the first generation. Probably wouldn't be here if I did, because I go back 60 years as it stands. But it's just been natural for them to do that. And when I talk about those three principles, it's so real here. They should be used as an example for business schools to come down and say, this is the way you do it. But it's just been, and they've devoted the time, the effort. You know, I don't ever recall coming here and not seeing Andre and David, both of them, or at least one of them, and now Kenny. And that takes a lot of effort, and you really got to want to do it. And they've done it right, and I know that they weren't instructed that this is the way you do it. It came natural. So they found their niche early on, and they stuck with it.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. You talked about these three qualities. Can you give me an example for any or all of them that you've experienced here?
Yeah, it's personal experience. The quality, I can't ever remember buying any merchandise here at whatever price level that wasn't the best quality. And that goes to the ability and for them to go out and to shop and to bring in the best quality materials. Insofar as the style and the fashion, they've identified that, there's a wide variety of clothing that you can buy, from the Briones and the Zinnias on down, and all of them are high quality. And over the years, I haven't just bought one. I think I've experimented with all of the suits. I have my preference, but the proof is in what I've observed and what I've experienced going along. And then, of course, with the service, every day. I mean, I walked in here today to come talk with you and do the interview, and it's the same as it's been for 60 years. Where can you find that? Only at places like Rubinstein's.
You really do ace interviews, I have to say. You give nice quotes.
Oh,
Nice. It's going to make it very easy to edit.
So how busy are you in your endeavors with the doing filming and so forth?
You mean here with the Rubinstein's project?
No, just in general.
Oh, my paid job, quite busy. I have an eclectic career, we'll
Okay.
say. I started in documentary work up in New York.
Uh-huh.
Did that for 12 years. We moved to Charlotte 20 years ago because of what I was doing. I started in production, but I moved out of production into kind of managing the projects as a whole.
Okay.
And so there's no large enough entity in Charlotte. So I did a number of things around, I started a business that was a social enterprise. So
Mhm.
it was a business to support public schools, give them additional money for the things they needed. And then I was part of a social entrepreneurship incubator,
Okay.
sort of like Propel
You've
here.
had an interesting,
I have, and now I am working on a joint project. Actually, I'm done either at the end of February or the end of June, depending on a couple of things. But it's an oral history project, which is
I like
a
that,
joint
yeah.
project of the local museum, the library system, Duke University, and the local HBCU.
Yeah.
And we're collecting stories of residents of Mecklenburg County, which is the county we're in,
Right.
Through the pandemic.
Right.
And for permanent archiving at the library and for exhibitions. So we've collected 340 stories in 18 months, which is great.
Super.
And now we're working on
Will that
creating the
be for
exhibition.
television? For
No, it's really for exhibit, like more like we have a website that's gonna,
Mhm.
have a lot of the video on it. So I'm working on.
Have
those
you been
videos.
published any on TV?
Yeah, this is a permanent archive, and it's gonna be available to the public
Okay.
in perpetuity. So even now, you can see all of these interviews on YouTube. We've got them
Mhm.
all
Mhm.
published. But to sit and listen, these interviews are often an hour long, they're
Yeah.
45 minutes long. They're not edited, and it's not as
Have you done
engaging.
documentaries like the Ken Burns series?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Do you know the journalist Bill Moyers?
The what?
The journalist Bill Moyers?
Yeah.
He used to be at CBS. He worked for LBJ. I worked for him for 12 years.
Okay.
That's what I was working with him.
Yeah, I love that. And we found a spot where, because I'm involved with the movie business in St. Bernard, we have the Ranch Studios.
That's
And
fantastic.
and that's a little different, but what you do is focused, and to put something together like that, to collect the footage and then to go back into.
It's been
you,
great fun.
you can put it together in a way that's really like I just feel Ken Burns nails it on some of his series.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
He and his brother both. When I was in New York, it's not a very large community.
Yeah, yeah.
And he really does. He's mostly in New Hampshire, is where he
Yeah.
stays now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does remarkable work.
Yeah.
And really reinvented. he really did reinvent that kind of documentary.
yeah.
With the way he filmed the still photos and everything. It's
Exactly.
technical, but
Yeah, because
the pushes and the
there's a
pulls and the-
balance
yeah.
there to keep your attention and for it to flow,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's captivating, and that's I guess what you're always looking for in
That's
addition to the message. And he, like you said, he nails it. You know.
Well, back in the '60s, Marshall McLuhan wrote a book called I don't know if it was called this. At this point in time, I can no longer remember what the title was, but it's where you get the term "the medium is the message."
Yeah,
And it's true. There are certain things that different media types are very good at, and audiovisual is very good at emotional engagement. But
Yeah.
you have to figure out how to do that.
you get
have
that.
access to music, you have access to visual stimulation, so you just gotta
Right.
use them for good.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well, this has been a good experience. Do you need me anymore? Or?
I don't think so. I was gonna ask. The only thing I was gonna ask is whether there's any story or any kind of thing that you feel I haven't asked about that you want to share.
I think you've covered it. I'd have to
Okay.
delve in to think of stories. I probably have a bunch of them because I've sat here and we've had conversations over the years of
Do you
many
have
subjects.
A salesman that you think was hilarious, or a particular window display that you found surprising, or I'm just
No, I
guessing at
can't.
things, yeah.
It's been pretty consistent. You know, I mean, it's always stimulating to see something different.
I've heard a lot about the Aquarius shop. I don't know if you have anything to share from the Aquarius shop in the '70s, if that was a place you went.
I remember that. Was that the jean shop? No, that
No, it was before the jean shop, and apparently there was
was.
a lot of marijuana smoked.
Oh yeah, the jean shop, the Madison shop, and I remember all the shops. I don't necessarily remember the names, but over the years, every one of the salesperson people that I've had have been outstanding, and going back, I guess the first one I remember was Stephen Hill, and then Ray Maselli, remember Ray, and Rod. But like I said, Andre and David were always there, and they allowed the salesperson to do their thing, but they were always there. And if the salesperson wasn't here, they would step in, or somebody else would. Everybody's not competing with each other, so to speak, when you walk in. Matter of fact, you would have one salesperson working with you, and the other salesperson would be assisting along the way, and really doing it in a legitimate way. Like and I think the other salespeople know your style and know you just as well as the salesperson who's assigned to you, and so that makes life comfortable. You get a lot more for your money in terms of people helping you while you're in here.
One question occurs to me. Was this the first credit account you ever had?
Probably so, yeah. Yeah.
I've heard that from a few people.
I think they did it the old-fashioned way back in those days.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
your name and.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for giving me this.